Welcome to Zoe Stories. My wife's prank turned me into a princess. I never imagined that a simple joke would change the course of my life. My name is Jason Carter. I'm 29, work-from-home software developer, and up until recently, I lived a perfectly ordinary life with my wife Emma in our cozy suburban home just outside Seattle. We'd been married for 3 years, and while our relationship had always been full of laughter, teasing, and the occasional prank war, I never thought she'd take one of her jokes this far. I wasn't a crossdresser. At least, I never thought of myself as one. Sure, I had curiosities, little thoughts I buried deep inside. Like wondering what wearing soft silk would feel like. Or staring just a bit too long when Emma applied her lipstick in the mirror. But I told myself that didn't mean anything. Everyone had odd thoughts sometimes, right? Still, Emma always joked I was a little too good at noticing dresses, or that my eyeliner game would be fierce. I laughed it off. That's just how we were, light teasing, harmless jabs. And I never minded, because it kept things fun. We lived in a charming little 2-bedroom home filled with cozy corners, sunlight pouring in through gauzy curtains, and shelves lined with Emma's candles and fairy lights. She had impeccable taste, and I loved how she made our place feel warm, like a place where anything was possible. I worked in the upstairs den, mostly handling back-end systems and cloud automation for a mid-sized tech company. My clients never saw me. That was part of the appeal, hoodies and joggers all day, Zoom calls with the camera off. I liked the anonymity. It let me stay in control. Emma, on the other hand, was bold, expressive, and full of color. She ran a popular beauty blog and did makeup tutorials on TikTok and Instagram. She had thousands of followers who hung on every mascara tip and blush blend she shared. Our worlds were completely different, and maybe that's why we worked so well. But lately, Emma had been acting different. She started leaving her makeup kits out on the table when she never used to. Left her dresses hanging in odd places. Once, she even asked if I'd zip up her dress for a demo video, and I swear she held the mirror just long enough for me to see myself standing behind her in it. Was that accidental? Or was she testing something? A few nights ago, we were watching a movie, some cheesy rom-com, and the main guy ends up in a dress for a dare. I laughed. Emma didn't. "You'd actually look good in something like that," she said, sipping her wine. "What? No way," I scoffed. She smirked. "Bet I could make you into a total princess." "Not happening." "Wanna bet?" She raised her eyebrows, eyes gleaming. I shook my head and rolled my eyes, but something about the way she looked at me that night stuck in my mind. Not mocking. Not even teasing. It was something else. Like she meant it. That brings us to today. Emma had a weekend trip planned with her friends, some kind of spa getaway in Portland. I was supposed to have the house to myself. A full weekend of gaming, junk food, and maybe finishing the sci-fi novel I kept putting off. I walked her to the car that Friday morning, gave her a quick kiss goodbye, and watched as she drove off down the street, leaving me alone. But as I walked back into the house, something was off. On the kitchen table sat a pink envelope with my name written in sparkly cursive. I opened it. "Jason, I've left a surprise upstairs. If you're brave enough to follow through, go to the bedroom. Consider this my ultimate prank, but also a challenge. Let's see if you can handle being my princess for one day. Love, Emma." I laughed out loud. What the hell is she up to now? Still, my heart was racing a little. That same curiosity, the kind I used to ignore, bubbled up again. She was out of town. No one would know. And she wanted me to do this. That made it different, right? I climbed the stairs and entered our bedroom. On the bed was a full outfit laid out like a carefully curated ritual. A soft pastel pink dress with lace trim, a pair of glossy nude heels, matching lingerie, a long honey blonde wig, and a full makeup kit placed with surgical precision on her vanity. I stood there frozen. I should have laughed it off. Closed the door. Gone back downstairs and turned on the PlayStation. But I didn't. Instead, I stepped forward and ran my fingers over the fabric. The lace was impossibly soft. The heels looked impossible to walk in. And the makeup, dozens of little bottles, brushes, pencils. A world I had never touched. But it was beautiful. and terrifying. There was a note on the vanity. Put it all on. Don't chicken out. I dare you. I looked into the mirror. Was I really about to do this? I sat at the edge of the bed, the soft pink dress resting across my lap like it was watching me. My heart pounded against my chest as if trying to warn me. This was insane. But the longer I stared at the outfit, the more I realized I wanted to know what it felt like. Just once. I took a deep breath and stood, slowly unbuttoning my shirt. Each layer I removed felt like I was shedding a part of myself. My hoodie gone. My jeans folded neatly on the chair. All that remained was hesitation. The lingerie came first. A pale pink bra, lacy, delicate, unfamiliar. I fumbled with the straps, trying to figure it out. I'd seen Emma do it 100 times, but my fingers weren't trained for this world. After a few frustrating minutes and a quiet laugh at my own struggle, I got it on. Next were the panties, satiny, smooth, and snug. They hugged me in a way that instantly made me hyper-aware of every movement. I couldn't believe I was actually doing this. But I didn't stop. I stepped into the dress. The fabric slid over my skin like water. It was lightweight, silky, and clung in places I hadn't expected. It zipped up the back with surprising ease, though I suspected Emma picked one specifically for that. I turned toward the full-length mirror and blinked. The image staring back wasn't me. Not exactly. Not yet. My arms were too hairy, my face unshaven, and my short hair looked ridiculous with this outfit. I looked like a guy in a costume, but that just made me more curious. What would it take to actually become the girl Emma wanted me to pretend to be? I opened the wig box and carefully lifted the honey blonde wig from its packaging. It was longer than I expected, soft, wavy, feminine. After watching a few quick tutorials on my phone, I pulled it on, adjusted the front, and brushed it until it fell naturally over my shoulders. My heart skipped. I almost looked like someone else. Someone I didn't hate seeing. Then came the makeup. I'd seen Emma do her makeup so many times, yet sitting there, staring at the endless brushes and palettes, I felt completely lost. Foundation, concealer, contour? I hesitated, then pulled up one of her saved videos titled, "Flawless Glam in Under 20 Minutes." She made it look effortless. For me, it took nearly an hour. Still, as I blended the foundation over my skin and saw my 5 o'clock shadow fade away, something stirred inside me, like I was being introduced to someone hidden deep within. Blush, eyeshadow, eyeliner, mascara, lipstick. By the time I finished, I could hardly recognize myself. I stood up slowly, unsteady on the heels Emma left for me. Nude-colored, shiny, and at least 3 inches tall. I wobbled a little but caught myself. The feeling of elevation, of control, of delicacy, it was intoxicating. Strange. But it made sense in a way I couldn't explain. And then I looked again. I didn't see Jason anymore. Not fully. I saw someone softer. Prettier. Nervous but alive. Was this still part of the prank? Or had Emma known exactly what she was unlocking? I walked around the room slowly, getting used to the sway of the dress, the tug of the bra, the click of the heels. Every step reminded me I was no longer who I used to be. For a moment, I imagined a different version of myself.
A name.
A persona. Jessica?
No.
Chloe? Maybe. How about Bella?
Yes. Bella.
I sat on the edge of the bed again, this time as Bella, and ran my fingers over the hem of the dress. The thrill wasn't just in the clothing. It was the release of tension. The freedom to be someone else. Someone beautiful. And then, bang, a door slammed shut downstairs. I froze. I wasn't supposed to hear that. Emma had gone to Portland. She couldn't be back this soon, right? I tiptoed out of the bedroom, heels clicking on the hardwood floor like betrayal. My breath caught. I leaned over the railing and looked down the stairs. No one. Maybe it was just the wind. Or the front door hadn't latched. I exhaled slowly and crept back to the room, heart racing. My skin was damp with nervous sweat, the makeup under my eyes threatening to smudge. I rushed to the vanity to fix it, feeling both terrified and exhilarated. Was this part of her prank too? Did she plan this? Then I saw the ring light in the corner of the room. It wasn't on when I entered. Had it been off? Or did I not notice? And then I noticed the phone. Emma's phone. Tucked neatly on the shelf behind the mirror. Recording. Oh my God, I whispered. My hands trembled as I reached for it. The video was still recording, over an hour of footage. She set this up.
She wanted to catch me.
My mind spiraled. Was this revenge for something? Some kind of test? Or had she known I'd go through with it? Worse, what if she planned to show her friends? I paced back and forth in the room, the heels clicking frantically. My thoughts were a storm of confusion and adrenaline. What had I just walked into? And yet, I hadn't hated it. Even now, with my heart pounding and panic rising, part of me was still hyper-aware of the way the dress swished as I moved, of how the soft wig brushed against my shoulders, of how Bella didn't want to disappear. But Jason did. I looked at myself one more time in the mirror. The girl in the reflection looked shaken.
Terrified.
But also real.
Honest.
Like a version of me I had buried too deep for too long. Then my phone buzzed. A message from Emma. Having fun yet, princess? I dropped the phone. How did she know? Had she set up motion alerts? Cameras? Was she watching me? My cheeks flushed crimson beneath the makeup. I felt sick and excited all at once. Emma wasn't just playing a prank.
She was testing me.
She wanted to see how far I'd go. And the scariest part? I wasn't sure I wanted to stop. I stared at the message on my phone screen like it might disappear. Having fun yet, princess? The chill that ran down my spine had nothing to do with the air conditioning. My hands were trembling so badly that I almost dropped the phone again. She knew. Emma knew everything. Somehow, she was watching. Either she had cameras I hadn't noticed, or she'd planned every inch of this, from the perfectly laid-out outfit to the carefully worded note, and now, the surveillance.
But why?
100 possibilities ran through my mind. Was this a trap? Blackmail? A joke? Was she going to expose me? Or was it something more dangerous, something intimate? I crept to the window, the heels no longer elegant, but loud, echoing across the hardwood like war drums. I pulled back the curtain, scanning the street. No car in the driveway. No Emma. Just the quiet of the neighborhood mocking my panic. I couldn't keep wearing this. I rushed to the closet, yanked at the zipper of the dress, and started peeling it off. But something inside me resisted. Bella didn't want to go yet. She wasn't ready. That terrified me more than Emma's text. Still, I forced the dress off, then the wig, the bra, the panties. I wiped off the makeup hastily, only smearing it further at first. The foundation clung to my skin like it had fused into my identity. When I looked into the mirror again, I saw something in my eyes that wasn't there before. Regret.
Guilt. Loss.
I threw on my hoodie and jeans, heart racing, and grabbed my phone. I needed to call Emma, ask her what the hell she was doing. But just as I unlocked it, another message came through. Emma, don't panic, baby. Just come downstairs. I'm waiting. Smiling face with smiling eyes. I froze. She was home.
How?
She'd said Portland.
Spa weekend.
4 hours away. I walked slowly toward the stairs. Every step felt like I was walking into a trap. But what choice did I have? I couldn't ignore this.
Not now.
As I reached the bottom step, I saw her, standing in the living room in a flowing red dress, arms folded, that signature smirk on her lips. Her makeup was flawless, her hair tied up in a messy bun like she hadn't just driven for hours. Or maybe she never left. Hey, princess, she said casually. You look different. I opened my mouth to speak, but nothing came out. Just air. She stepped closer. You know, I wasn't sure you'd actually do it.
But wow.
You went all out. Emma, I finally choked out. What is this? A lesson, she said, stepping around me. And maybe a gift. I blinked. What? She leaned against the back of the couch, arms crossed. I always suspected, Jason. The way you looked at my clothes. How you helped pick my dresses. The way your eyes lit up when I wore heels. I shook my head. That doesn't mean anything. Oh, really? She said, tilting her head. Then why did you spend an hour transforming into Bella? My breath caught. You named her? She laughed lightly.
No, silly.
You did. You whispered it when you put on the lipstick. I heard everything. I went pale. You were watching? She held up her phone and showed me a live feed from the teddy bear on the bedroom shelf. Just one little camera. I had to know. This is messed up, I muttered, backing away. You manipulated me. Maybe, she said softly. But you didn't say no. You could have laughed it off. Put the dress back. But you didn't. You wanted it, didn't you? Silence. Didn't you? She pressed. I nodded slowly. Yes. The admission hit like thunder. I felt exposed.
Seen.
Stripped bare. Emma walked up to me and gently placed her hands on my cheeks. You were beautiful, Jason. I mean it. You looked free. I don't know who I am anymore, I whispered. You're both, she said. You're Jason. And maybe Bella. I looked into her eyes. She wasn't mocking me. She was serious. I don't want this to be a joke, I said. It's not, she said. Not anymore. But I do want to see her again. On your terms. I nodded again. A single tear escaped and ran down my cheek. She kissed me gently. I'll be upstairs. When you're ready, if you're ready, I left something for her in the closet. She turned and walked away. I stood there, trembling, shaking, my entire identity in pieces. An hour passed. Then another. I didn't move. I couldn't. But eventually, I walked back upstairs. I opened the closet. Hanging there was a new dress, midnight blue, sleek, elegant. On the vanity sat a note. Let her out. She's waiting. My fingers trembled as I reached for the dress. As I stood in front of the mirror again, makeup redone, wig brushed, heels strapped, I felt like I was finally seeing myself. Bella stood tall, confident, and emotional. She was no longer hiding. But just as I turned to leave the room, I heard the sound of keys in the front door. Again, I rushed to the window. Emma's real car was pulling into the driveway. She was laughing with two women, her friends from the spa trip. My blood ran cold. If Emma was just arriving now, then who had I just spoken to? I turned back to the vanity. The dress was gone. The note, too. My reflection?
Gone.
Just me, Jason, in a state of undress, surrounded by makeup, a wig, and heels. And downstairs, the real Emma was calling out. Babe, I'm home. Babe, I'm home. Her voice echoed up the stairs like a gunshot. I stood there frozen, heart hammering, the silence in the room now deafening. The vanity still held the scattered makeup I had just applied. The wig lay beside the brush, strands still curling in that soft, elegant way. I looked down, heels on my feet, the zipper of the midnight blue dress halfway up. And Emma was home. The real Emma. Then who had I just spoken to? No time to figure it out. Panic surged through me. I darted across the room, nearly tripping in the heels. I ripped them off and kicked them under the bed. I grabbed a towel and desperately tried to wipe the lipstick off my mouth. Smears of crimson clung to my lips like a mark I couldn't erase. Jason, her voice came again, closer now. The front door shut. Footsteps echoed in the hallway. I ripped the dress off, throwing it onto the bed. The wig followed. My hoodie, my jeans. I scrambled to pull them on, hands shaking, adrenaline making everything harder. Just as I yanked the hoodie over my head, the bedroom door opened. Emma stood there, a spa bag on her shoulder, travel pillows still clutched in one arm. Her brows furrowed as she stepped into the room. Hey, she said slowly, looking around. Why does it smell like my perfume up here? I laughed too loudly. I was cleaning. Knocked a bottle over. She glanced at the vanity. The foundation bottle was uncapped. Lipstick tubes were rolling on their sides. Her new wig was missing from the stand. Her eyes narrowed. I stood in the middle of the room, hoodie zipped up, face still blotchy with hurried makeup removal, lips stained. She walked toward me. Jason, what were you doing? I opened my mouth, but I had no lie ready this time. Nothing I could say would fix the obvious signs. I looked into her eyes, and something in me broke. I whispered, "I'm sorry." She tilted her head. For what? I swallowed. For hiding. For lying. For not telling you that maybe I don't always feel like Jason. Her eyes widened, but she didn't speak. I didn't plan it. I continued, the words spilling now. But when you left, there was this dress and a note. It said you dared me to try. And I did. I looked in the mirror, and I saw someone I didn't hate. Emma looked confused. Jason, I never left any note. I didn't leave anything for you. My heart stopped. She wasn't lying. What? She stepped back toward the closet and opened it. What dress? Nothing was there. The midnight blue dress had vanished. Even the vanity, now eerily clean. Everything was neatly packed, makeup closed, brushes washed. No wig in sight. I turned back toward the bed. The pink envelope from before?
Gone.
No trace. It was like Bella had erased herself, or been erased. Emma looked at me again. Are you okay? I sat on the edge of the bed, body shaking. I don't know what's real anymore. Jason, she said gently, sitting beside me, if there's something you're trying to tell me, you can. I promise. I turned to her, finally letting the truth rise to the surface. There's a side of me I didn't want to admit existed. A side that doesn't just like the clothes or the feeling, but feels alive in them. She didn't flinch. And she has a name, I added. Bella. Silence. Then slowly Emma reached out and took my hand. Then maybe it's time I met her properly, she said softly. And not through some mystery prank. I blinked. You believe me? She gave a small smile. Jason or Bella, you're still you. And I love you. But, I asked nervously. She looked over at the vanity again. I just don't understand one thing. What? If I didn't set up that note, and I didn't leave the dress or the camera, then who did? I finished, voice barely a whisper. We both turned toward the vanity at the same time. And there, on the mirror, appearing like it had been drawn in fog, were the faint words. She's not done yet. Emma gasped. I stood up, heart frozen in my chest. Who's not done? She whispered. I stepped closer to the mirror, breath trembling. And, in that reflection, just for a moment, I saw her.
Bella.
Smiling. Watching. Waiting.